Giving starts with empathy. When we're selfish, thinking about ourselves, it's hard to be generous. But putting ourselves in someone else's shoes allows us to think with a more gracious heart. And usually when we're talking about generosity, we're talking about money. There's 2,300 verses on money in the Bible, but only 500 verses on prayer and faith. In Exodus 36, Moses asked the Israelites for help in building the sanctuary. And the Israelites showed up and they gave what they had lavishly, to the point that Moses had to tell them not to give anymore. What if we became a church that gave like that? Where every day we gave of our finances, our talents, our time with such reckless abandon to the point that we were asked not to give anymore because there was so much abundance. But how do we become a church that's generous to that degree? And I think the first way is by setting an example. You practice it yourself. I'm a big believer that generosity is caught, not taught. And so here's what I mean. Kids learn not by you telling them to be generous, not by having talks or yelling at them, but they learn by seeing you be generous, by watching you practice generosity. But generosity isn't just about your money. Like we just talked about in that story in Exodus, it's about your talents, your time. And your time is probably an even more valuable resource than money. Another way that we can practice generosity is by encouraging it, talking about it. We live in a different time. For some of us, we saw our parents put their tithe check in the collection plate. Today, we give online or through texts here. And our kids don't even know whether we're giving or just checking our social media. But by having discussions with them, including them in this, we can spread our generosity to the next generation. But talking isn't enough. We have to live it out. So we have to find ways as a family to be generous. So what could you do as a family together to be generous? Could you serve together as a family at RidgeKids? Or at GOC, Glory of Christmas. You could collect cans. We do collections here at the church. Or we just finished doing the shoe boxes. Well, what are some ways that you as a family could be generous? And then pointing it out in others, looking for examples of other people being generous and pointing it out to your children. Here at Northridge, we have two different teams that are amazing examples of generosity, and that's Team World Vision and Love Runs. And they both give of their time and finances and talents in order to help those that are hurting. And then one of the last ways is to make generosity a daily habit. What are ways that every single day we can practice generosity? And I think our time is the most precious commodity. Obviously, finances is great too, but what if we gave of our time? So whether it's spending time with your kids or your nieces and nephews or neighborhood kids or just people that are in your life that need your time. There's a movie a few years ago called Pay It Forward. And the whole concept was someone did something nice for you and now you're going to pay it forward. You're going to do something nice for someone else. And so for example, you're in the drive-through line at McDonald's and the person in front of you pays for your meal. And so you pay for the person after you. But, as Christians, we've been given a gift that we can never repay. But what if we lived our lives like we were trying to?